Hey everyone, and welcome over to Beyond the Summit 2, where we got the Dota 2 Asia Championship still going strong. We're in day number 5 of the competition. Actually, it's day number 5 of the group stage, day number 6 of the competition. The days are very much coming together on this one, but we're in heat number 2, and we got a big one for you. The biggest of all, the Big God's going to be taking on Vici Gaming. These two teams right up at the top of this round-robin stage. You got Vici Gaming now sporting a 10-2 record, and Big God sporting a 9-4. But I got to say, these have to be the top two teams in the eastern side of Dota. And I'm really looking forward to this one. But I'm not going at it alone. I got my good buddy Blaze joining me remotely. Blaze, are you hyped up? Are you amped? Because I sure am. This is good.
Oh, most definitely, man. There is just so much to this match. It's not even just the top two teams in China. It's probably some of the best teams in the world. Like Vici Gaming boasting the title of the Summit 2 champions. That's a huge prize pool they were able to take away. And Big God, like, pick your favorite storyline here. We've got Lanham versus Ice Ice Ice, former teammates pitted against one another. We've got Burning versus his Padawan, Black. We've got ROTK versus his former franchise, Vici Gaming. I mean, this is just incredible. Just some of the all-stars of the Chinese scene going at it here. It's just an amazing matchup with some amazing players that, I mean, for all we know, this could be an upper bracket or a grand final precursion. Like, this is going to be so fun to watch, and it's just the best of one.
One of the most important matchups, though, Blaze. We got Ice 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 taking on Ice Ice.
Of course,
Ice Cubed versus Ice. It's just ridiculous. Who's going to be the better Ice Ice Ice? That's what we got to find out. But no, I'm right there with you. This is big. This is real big.
This is insane. And already the drafts are just off to the races here. Medusa opened up in the first phase. This is something that you have to have a ton of confidence to go with here. But Burning's like, bring it on. I'm going Medusa. No Morphling this game. And the one cool thing is because Shadow Fiend was already picked up, you're very unlikely to face a Wex Invoker. It's a lot harder to fit that into the draft when you already have the Medusa. So instead of last picking it and saying, oh, please don't counter me, we're saying, bring it on. You got the Vengeful Spirit, Wave of Terror, enhancing her damage. You've got the Vengeance Aura, of course, helping her out as well. But Shadow Fiend Axe is a little bit difficult to deal with. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of potential magic damage in the burst sense, and Shadow Fiend is a high-tempo core hero. He can kind of snowball very early on, where Medusa's at her weakest. The last thing I'll mention is Axe, of course, having the ability to control positioning and just, in general, destroy teamfights with the Red Initiation tool.
Vici Gaming for the second wave of bans, get rid of the Bristleback and the Lion. On the side of Big God, respect towards Black Sniper. We saw that matchup where he took 15-1 record, 15 kills, and all it took was 15 minutes. Man, that guy can certainly snipe it on home. And then they get rid of the Brood here. I don't know. I'm getting the early inkling, and I'm tickled by the possible thought that maybe to counterback this Medusa, we get to see Black on the AM. How funny would that be for Black to go on anti-mage against someone like Burning and a Medusa? So we'll see if that's the case, though. Looking to go into the final pickup phase here. I'm actually surprised to see, according to Dota 2 Lounge, they have it as Vici Gaming as a 70% favorite here. That's a value bet I would certainly take. This could be anyone's game.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a really good chance for Big God, but as far as when you actually look at the losses of this team, their losses were actually pretty bad. They did have a couple of contested ones, but two of their losses that I was watching were just absolute dominant performances from their opposition. And of course, that's anecdotal. It's best of ones. You can get shaken on your first day or so, but Vici Gaming, I think they've shown the more consistent, more powerful performance, and obviously they're a fan favorite. I mean, these guys have been doing some great work with their current roster, and FY drafting it up. We'll see what support he pulls out for himself. But you're mentioning AM possibility. I definitely agree with that. I think that he would be actually really good in this circumstance. But for now, they're going to go with the Skywrath. This makes it so it's harder to follow up with like a Medusa if they want to do, or sorry, a Juggernaut if they wanted to go that route. And also, it's just a lot of great synergy with Axe and Shadow Fiend in terms of initiating and getting kills very quickly.
Plus Ancient Seal amplifies the raise, amplifies the ultimate there from Shadow Fiend, heavy burst potential. And, well, we'll see. Yeah, the lockdown, of course, we saw in the previous game, even though, you know, for MVP it didn't quite work out in the end, they were still able to get some good pickoffs on some potential cores who were trying to farm. So there's always potential there. And it's a nice early foundation here from both sides. A lot of structure, but we're moving on now. For Big God here, they got to look out probably their offlaner here for ROTK. Batrider's already been banned out. A lot of offlaners, mind you. Bristleback, Tidehunter, leaving a couple options out there. We still have Big Bad Brad, the Centaur, at the ready if they need that Stampede globally, whether it be defensive or offensive. But anything else really jumping out to you as far as maybe what ROTK could be looking for?
It's tough. I mean, they already know that they're up against a very powerful last two picks. Vici Gaming are going to put a lot of emphasis on getting a ton of farm on their final options here. So not knowing exactly what to expect, probably a mana burning counter. You probably just want something that'll get a little bit more active early on, just something that can win a fight before the 10-minute mark. And if you can build up that momentum and create that space for Medusa, you're going to be feeling a lot better. So probably going with your offlaner here. There's still a decent few in the pool. A Centaur's not too bad for getting Medusa in the right position for her Stone Gaze. It's also great at avoiding a lot of things coming in from Skywrath and Shadow Fiend. But I do like the Zeus pick. The Zeus pick puts Blink Daggers on cooldown, and if that doesn't counter Axe, I don't know what does.
Yeah, so that way the initiation could be a bit of a nuisance here. Plus you have the global presence, the extra bit of vision, the de-warding capabilities. You're on Radiant side, so being able to have that extra bit of global sight to know when the Roche could be contested certainly works out nicely and keeps with their nice euphoric blue kind of a lineup they have going for them. But also, worthy to know, Jug and Troll both ignored up to this point. But here we go.
Okay, so Nyx is going to max mana burn this game. Probably a 1-4-1 build, and that's going to be really good since you're up against two intelligence heroes and one that emphasizes mana in the build. So it should work out pretty well to just have this as your soul counter. Like a lot of people would say, second pick Medusa, oh, just throw everything at him. Invoker, Anti-Mage, Nyx Assassin, and everybody build Necros. And it's just like, that's what Big God want. They want you to overemphasize countering Medusa, and that's why they're so Moxious and picking it up so early on. So this casual, calm Nyx Assassin pick, and wherever they'll fill it, it should do good work. Though I think it will be a 4 position here.
Yeah, definitely.
10 seconds remaining.
It's a question between FY and Fenrir. These are two that really love to move around and get objectives done, and I certainly can see Nyx Assassin and Skywrath Mage doing so. Maybe even kind of having Nyx fill the same shoes like a Lion would, get him that early Blink Dagger, and he can look to set things up. And I didn't get to watch the match, but from what I heard, S4 played a Nyx Assassin in their matchup, and he did a dominating performance there. So we could see a bit of a reprieve. We'll see. Now the AM does get banned out, so we won't get the luxurious black anti-mage to counter Burning's Medusa. Big God round things out with a Faceless Void here. It's a good grab, a good setup. Medusa certainly can go on a rail, and Witch Doctor, though his ward will not work inside the bubble, it still can do huge punishment from the outside.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And honestly, I could see a situation where if the Axe jumps in and actually gets a good call off, Void might be finding an incentive to just even chrono half his own team. Like there are no bad chronos in this game. There are certain ones that will not be favorable for you in general, but if you're getting initiated on, you want to break down that chain of initiation. If you have to catch 3 of your own teammates to get 2 enemies out, as long as you know what you're doing immediately after the chrono expires, that's the big thing here. But it looks like Troll Willard is going to be picked up by Black here, and that is going to make for a very destructive combo between him and the Shadow Fiend. A lot of damage, a lot of tower pressure. Roche is definitely on the field now, but before it was kind of, okay, none of these supports do that much to Roche. Axe can control the pit with his blink, but the Shadow Fiend himself couldn't do it. Now the Troll's involved, and he can solo Roche if he wants to. And you're talking about the Nyx Assassin that we saw viewers saw in the Secret versus EG game. S4 obviously had a bit of a different tempo because he played it as a core hero instead of a support, and he was able to get some insane double stuns. So FY, with or without a Blink Dagger, might have to live up to that reputation. But there's a couple interactions that I will note real quick with the Spike Carapace that makes him a little weaker in this draft than in some others. One thing is Witch Doctor, his Death Ward, will not proc Spike Carapace. It'll hit them freely, and the Death Ward cannot be stunned. The Zeus also, he will, of course, be stunned by the Spike Carapace, but whenever he casts a spell on Nyx, like a Lightning Bolt, you want the big burst damage to reflect, but it's actually Static Field that procs first. So Zeus will take a little tiny pinprick of damage, and then the Nyx will get the brunt of the damage. So FY, he'll have to be very careful how he uses the Spike Carapace, and obviously he won't have the chance if he's caught inside the Chrono.
Yeah, and then when the Faceless Void is picked up and you're talking about how there could be pretty much no bad chrono, I feel like with the Troll pick, though, things can get a bit more nerve-wracking here for our OTK. If Troll's caught on the outside, heaven forbid, both him and Shadow Fiend, unleashing the Battle Trance could be devastating. I mean, imagine the Shadow Fiend coming on through already with this huge stack damage of a right-click. Now it's going to be huge punishment. They'll be able to siege towers quickly if they're able to capitalize on big fights, and like you already talked about, Roche seems to be a much easier task, one that Black could even just take on his own, so that puts more pressure onto Big God, controlling the map, maintaining vision. Zhao Wei, he needs to get the levels up, have the ult at the ready just in case, but This will be an interesting one here. I'm feeling like for Big God, they have the 4 outside of Burning, who's probably going to be more prioritized for going for farm. They got to create that space. They got to be able to get a lot done and keep back Vici Gaming. And for Vici Gaming, well, the tempo's pretty much theirs to decide. They have early aggression from the start with lane dominance, and then you got the peaking point when they're able to get what looks like already, unless they swap FY playing the Axe, if they get him the Blink Dagger, he can really change things up a bit. So it looks like potentially here for Vici Gaming, they're going to do a bit of a swap around.
Wow.
Have Ice 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 go with what looks like an offlane setup on the Nyx Assassin, and this could be even a jungling FY Axe in a very selfless position 5. You might even say position 6, Fenrir Skywrath Mage.
Yeah, it would be a very powerful combo indeed. We've actually seen Faith been doing a lot of jungle axe and support axe that is able to get a lot of value out of the pickup when you are up against a low tempo lineup. And that's exactly what you're up against here. You have 2 hard carries that can do nothing without items, except for a mild Chronosphere. And yeah, you have plenty of time to build and play greedy yourself. So FY, building up a very early Blink Dagger without even taking away from the lane, this allows Ice 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 to play a lot more of that S4-esque role on the Nyx instead of just like, oh, okay, I will get my level 6 like 8 minutes into the game, and my Vendetta will do a little bit of damage. He will take some hits here, but it's important to note that Nyx Assassin has a lot of base regen. Without a Tenga or a Sav popped, he is regenerating 3 HP per second. Still land him. Going against his former teammate here, saying, okay, I got the movement speed advantage, and I'm going to press it.
He's letting his DK buddy know. Ice Ice, back off, Lanham, all right? Come on, man. I'm sorry. We have new teams now. We have new objectives here. Can you take it easy? And they just kind of, well, what I'd imagine betrayed some friendly banter. But with that said, let's get things underway. Burden's going to get the bounty on the bottom, and that will leave Super to get the one on the top. So a nice trade between both sides. We'll lead things off with introductions. For Vici Gaming, it's going to be Super on your Shadow Fiend. He's accompanied for now in Fenrir, who's going to take care of the block for him while he gets that bounty. Up and above, we got FY. He's playing on what looks like that jungle axe. That leaves Black on the solo safe lane troll, and none other than Mr. Ice Ice Ice. Daryl is going to be playing your Nyx Assassin.
Nice. And just looking at quick stats for FY here, he has only 1 competitive game on Axe. It was against Victus Gaming, and it was a win for them at the 27-minute mark. So good for him to be able to put out that pressure and go for this Crimson Guard Blink build, which should do a lot of work against the Medusa. But looking over the side of Big God, we've got on the offlane here, taking a few hits. It's your offlane Zeus, Xiaowei. They did a swaparoo as well, and this is something that you actually see from some of the NA teams. Like Complexity is actually pretty well known for running the Zeus in this position here. Still taking a lot of damage. Fenrir might want to go for this. He gets the clear vision. One more right click is all he needed. I almost think that it might have been better to go for it. However, you do give gold the other way because the creeps certainly would have torn the Skywrath apart. Either way, yeah, that is going to be your off-lane Zeus in the hands of Xiaowei. Mid lane is going to be Burning, going for his most likely max Mystic Snake build on the Medusa here. Very common for him as he builds up his bottle and Aquila. Then we have on the safe lane, we've got ROTK in the farming position on the Faceless Void. And then we do also have the supports. We have Lanham on the Witch Doctor. We already talked about with the boots, just destroying Nyx's early regen. And then Ice Ice is your kind of understated support player in the Vengeful Spirit. The First Blood is going to come out on top. That's where we expected it when he did that little crevice there. You get clear vision from your Arcane Bolt, but this one's just from 1 or 2 of those, along with some right clicks.
So Xiaowei just kind of flirting with death there a little too much, and one of the best zoners in the game in your Skywrath Mage eventually has his number. He eats up the clarity. Xiaowei knows that, wanted to get a hold of him and pop that clarity, but that's not going to be happening. So with that, Fenrir gets off the heavy nuke damage, and First Blood is going to go to Vici Gaming. So a nice boost right there at the start.
Yeah, it's going to be a very early smoke coming out from Lanham and Ice Ice, but they only have the Wave of Terror to start. I'm not sure exactly the intention, if it's behind stacking the creeps in the jungle. He hasn't really done that too much, so I guess it's just for a little bit of extra burst damage, but they're going to have to get an amazing cast to get this kill.
There's 2 ganks happening. Axe is also looking to come at FY from behind, but Super's already caught out with the cask, and he's running up in the north to get away from this one, but the right click comes through. Burning gets that. Now here comes the call. FY hoping to get some spins. There's going to be 1. There's 2, but it's too far from Lanham, but here comes the Arcane Bolt. The spin comes through. FY gets a return kill there, and maybe could have gone for Ice Ice, but Fenrir gets it there with the Arcane Bolt. So it ends up being a 2-for-1 trade. Advantage for Vici Gaming, but Burning does get a snag for himself.
And they're going to get some bottle sips here from Super. He teleports in, gives a bottled sip to each of them, and it refills while the fountain regen is still in action. So FY and Fenrir can leave the lane, still keeping most of their resources intact. They get a lot of good levels, and Black gets to solo Xiao Wei up top. What can a Zeus do in this situation? 1 armor, no boots. Black just runs him down, doesn't get the last bash, but will die for this, and he will be able to get the kill. So, in the end, it's 4 for 1 in favor of Vici Gaming. Axe just got his Tranquils at the 3-minute mark and is immediately putting it to work in the medium stack.
Black with that game sense knows the supports had rotated elsewhere to get work done in the mid lane, and the second he saw an opening, he made the dive onto Xiao Wei, and he'll go down. Bottom lane, though, they're thinking they're going to dive themselves. Oh, the bash and the cast going to proc right there. It forces out the Carapace, slows them down a bit. Oh, he needs one more right click, but it's not going to be there. Lanham is opt to pull back. Very close exchange, but looks like Ice is going to be able to step away, use that salve, and heal on up.
Yeah, and the Vengeful Spirit does have a magic missile, so I have to play it pretty careful, but with the Carapace cooling down in just a second here, he should be perfectly fine. And yeah, that's the good thing about saving up your regen. Despite having good base regen, he still went for Tango and Sav, and that allows him to heal right back up and stay on the lane to get all of this juicy experience. In the meantime, the top rune goes to the Shadow Fiend, a very nice regen rune picked up for him, and it makes it very hard to be a Medusa. She's actually bottle crowing at this point, and her farm is not that substantial. 24 and 11, but bottom lane, Ice going down.
Oh, they're going to dive again for him, but Carapace could slow them off, and it will. Still no rotations coming out from supports to maybe get one of their own. Ice is in a bit of a pickle here. He still has the TP if necessary. Here comes Nyx, still eyeballing on the side here. A lot of flirting. Fenrir nearby on that Skywrath Mage. And they are looking
He's staying
for
out of vision
Ice.
this entire time. He's going to maybe tango through. The game sense here. He finds Ice in the jungle behind the tower, and they just can't fight it. The Carapace, again, will bail out Ice if he needs it. And it's actually the Venge who's sent on the retreat, going to take some tower hits here. And the slow, the damage, the death of the Venge, as well as the Zeus up top.
Oh, Black gets down Xiao Wei again at that same time. This is kills for Vici Gaming from top to bottom. 6-1 to lead things in. Very impressive stuff. Good game sense knowledge, knowing the support Ice didn't drop out through the bottom, so he was still there. Even though he had a TP on hand, they still had to check, and well, they profit from it. Mind you, all the while, FY had been farming up in the jungle, nearly 800 gold already in reserve, building towards that Blink Dagger. And the mid lane also going, well, super for super. His Shadow Fiend is 29 and 12, Burning is 16 and 1 on the Medusa.
Yeah, it's incredible what Super's been able to get out of this lane. Of course, he had some help. He is been able to get some ganks his way, and they've been decently favorable for their side. But across the board, everything's going great. Ice is still going to live against the RTK gank. Interesting items for him. It looks like he's going to be a Midas, so he has a Sage's Mask right now for a later Aquila build-up, I presume. Anyways, yeah, the big thing here is the phase boots on the Troll allows him to keep activity on the Zeus, and with a haste rune pickup, it should be the death of Ice. He's going to actually give it to Super. Super will be able to chase down the Venge, and Venge just has to deny herself the neutrals, if she even can.
Oh, RTK, though, looks to interject, and he goes right for Fenrir, but Super's like, that's a better target, and well, they end up
He didn't actually
back.
pick the haste. I'm kind of surprised about that. That should have been a kind of a freebie there, but doesn't commit in that regard, and the haste rune still goes to the Shadow Fiend, but he'll keep it stored up.
Yeah, very interesting. He definitely handed up the remaining bottle to Ice to heal on up, but I think he still would have had time to grab the haste, pop it, run in there, get the job done, and walk away safely. Or
oh,
run
poor
away
Xiao Wei.
safely,
Look at this timing from FY. Perfect game sense. Senses out where Xiao Wei's going to be, when he's going to rotate away, try to go to the side. The Secret Chop, I believe, was the intention, but yeah, FY just blocks that route. He gets the Calling Blade off, and this is just a ton of kill momentum going the way of Vici.
Yeah, staggering start for Xiao Wei. This is an off-lane Zeus. It's not like he can be like, well, then I'm done going that lane. Time to jungle it on up. That's not going to be as easy for him, so he's really got to find his way to get back in this one because he continues to struggle, and Vici Gaming continue to pressure. Now going on to Burning. Fenrir just letting him know, hey, I'm here. Better step on back. Super takes advantage of that little bit of space and continues to develop his CS way above and beyond. 43-14, Burning at 25, now 26 with the help of that Mystic Snake, but the best one of all, Black in your top lane, now 51 and 29. Even denies raking them in.
So, all right, we'll be able to clean up the Observer Ward that was freshly placed here. The Sentry Ward was just out of range, so the Lightning Bolt will come through. That may have been what Xiao Wei was actually rotating for, but the Ward was placed slightly after. So they actually saw his movement, maybe wanted to counter gank, and then after they saw the Ward placed, they said, okay, we'll just de-ward it. But the Axe Bait too strong. FY is doing so well right now. Despite being a 4-position Axe, he's about to clear out these Ancients and only be a couple hundred gold away from that Blink Dagger.
Things are also going to begin to get a bit more interesting. Ice is now level 6. He has to walk back and heal up, but he's got the Vendetta if he'd like to make use of it. Lanham's going to actually deny the DD.
Oh, wanted that DD.
Yeah, he did. Well, it's going to get denied. Lanham's not going to allow that. He'll drop his bottle, heal on up. And now we'll see Ice with Vendetta in hand. He looks to put it to use here. Pops it right there and maybe has eyes for bottom lane. ROTK, though, has the Chronosphere here. And it looks like maybe they want to make something happen themselves. They got both supports rotating over. FY hanging nearby.
VG fans got to be praying for some backtracks, but it's not even going to be on Void. Just quick pick on the Venge, and they can walk away with this.
Easy grab. One of the best thing you can ask for when you get your Vendetta on your Nyx Assassin. A precious little weak and wounded support for easy pickings. Now it's looking like a dominating early laning phase here for VG Gaming. 8-1 to lead things in, and no surprise when we switch over to the net worth. It's both Black and Super hand in hand at the top.
And I love the rotation here. We're going to be seeing the Axe go to the bottom lane since he had such a great start, and he's still kind of a hero that can off-lane very effectively. He's just going to go ahead and make RTK's life miserable. Every time he right-clicks him, he takes creep aggro and throws a couple spins his way. Also threatens with the taunt. But beyond that, he's going to get a little bit of extra farm and finish off that blink, unless Big God can take him down here.
Well, they get the stun to lead things in. The wave goes out. ROTK follows up with the Chrono. But, oh my God, he just turns back and says, "Joke's on you." He hits the dunk. Double man stun. It's a triple. Unbelievable. VG Gaming still dominating here. Not an inch bottom lane. One lingering tomahawk flies out. Xiao 8 goes down. This is a bigger slaughter than the last match. 12-1. VG Gaming over Big God. Who'd have thunk?
The bait was just way too strong. He was just a little bit too tanky there with all of his assets, and then going in. You can't obviously backtrack the Culling Blade. You just instantly die, and he just let himself drop below that threshold. He went for a kind of greedy build, finally finishes up his treads and Morbid Mass now, but because he didn't have both of those at the time, he didn't have the HP to deal with it, and with Axe living and the Void staying in melee range, he just feeds his life away, and Ice turns up again, now bottom.
They got the Blink Dagger. They jump in.
There's another dunk. Vendetta, not even needed.
He's got a Blink Dagger right now. He's going to be snowballing. It's going to be kills from top to bottom. Any chance he gets, he's going to look to go for it. Big God have got to be scared at this point. They got to wait in the wings, and there's another jump in. He doesn't catch the call, but a two-man impale from Ice leads to 1 kill, 2 kill with the spin. Triple kill for FY. 1,300 gold after getting up his Blink Dagger. This is a domination happening before our eyes. VG Gaming forcing Big God to run away scared. Burning rotates to the bottom lane to get involved, but now FY is going to salve up, and he'll be at the ready once more. Mind you, all the while, they're pressing in top lane. Super has anything he wants here at the top lane, and I don't know, Blaze, I'm just perplexed. I can't believe it.
They're even taking the stack away from him. It's just like no resources to take off the map for burning. He's going to have the slowest roll you can imagine. I mean, now he is kind of defending bottom lane with his Stone Gaze, so maybe he can stop this onslaught, but they're just going to keep going. They have the Arcane Boost shortly. They have the Blink now, and Lanham. He only gets the cask, and he'll still be falling.
Bop.
I mean, 8-0-2 on your support position Axe. He just starts jungle, and somehow in 11.5 minutes finds 8 kills and 2 assists. That would be incredible for any player in Dota 2. But this is FY against some of the best Chinese players, the ones who play defensively, who calculate their movements. ROTK, Lanham, they're just getting crushed. And it's got to be satisfying for him, looking for another play.
Lanham, Burning, all them say they made this team to come together and just have some fun. Well, this doesn't look fun. This looks like a very sad time right now for Big God, and it doesn't stop there. Xiao 8 looks to scout out Ice, and Vendetta, almost the Chrono came out just to make sure they could lock him, but didn't want to risk whiffing it. Ice puts himself in the corner and will TP away, and it looks like this could be the calm for now. I say that, but look at FY. Makes the jump, solo on the Burning. Oh, nice time Stone Gaze is going to force him to have to step out. Double rotations come through. This could be Big God's chance, but Fenrir nearby. Dishes out the concussive shot. FY looks to go for the TP, but he's not going anywhere. This is going to be a bounty pickup, and they get it. Burning of all people.
Medusa monster kill. Oh my gosh.
That's a lot of gold into the pocket of Medusa.
Yeah. Usually don't look at the fight recap for a single kill, but we can actually look at that and see just how much was really accomplished there for the Medusa, just jumping up in farm all of a sudden. Like, she's got a Yasha. She can make her way towards Scotty. That's an unfortunate death. And one thing to mention is that the Axe forces the Medusa to look at her with the Berserker's Call. It's not the other way around. He's not dueling her. He's just calling her. He could turn if he wanted to. Sure, he's embodying the role play of the Axe, just never flinching against your opponents, but if he had just turned away, he wouldn't have been stone gazed, and he probably would have lived.
Well, maybe just a little too headstrong right there, FY. Yes, you're on a tear, but not everything's going to be so easy. A dive like that, but props to, of course, Burning with the quick reaction of that stone gaze. Certainly helped set that one up, but because so close to that tier 1 tower, the rotations were able to come, and Big God swipe a really big bounty, the biggest one out there, and it goes to probably the best person they could ask for. So that is definitely going to breathe new life here into Big God in the early game, but that hasn't stopped FY from going on the prowl. He's got the good old Vitality booster here, already thrown together, probably going to, segue, of course, into that Vanguard, potential Crimson Guard get up, but we'll see. They continue to pressure the bottom lane. But I can't help but feel like Big God for the rest of their squad, they continue to have to play a little bit cautiously here. There's always going to be that Ice Vendetta around. Mind you, also Super has been farming like crazy. He's got his Mechanism 500 gold, touching base with Black, Vlad's, and a Yasha already on hand, and he's working with double stacks.
Any X+1 combo right now should guarantee a kill on essentially anybody. I mean, if the Chronosphere comes in to save, that'll kind of break down the chain of initiation, but as it is, the Mystic Flare just came up for Fenrir, so a Vendetta or a Mystic Flare will put them into dunk range. And yeah, at this point, you note that they are not actually even like committing too hard to push down that tier 1 tower. Like, they could have actually creep cut behind it, they could have taken it down, I would say 3 or 4 minutes ago, but they actually structurally used it as bait, so that Big God, they wanted to farm down there, they wanted something out of it, but until they left it completely defenseless, Vici Gaming didn't take it off the map.
So for Super, we'll see where he takes his Shadow Fiend build from here, but looks like it's time to do Roche. Vici Gaming absolutely have the farm potential to get it done, and I would imagine for Big God, they can't really contest. Though they do have a Chrono, Zhao Wei, he does have the Thunder God's Wrath available here. Once they see that a lot are missing from the map, he might actually strike it on down. But by that point, look at this. Roche, it's pretty much done. Vici Gaming are going to pick up that one, and they'll walk away. Super's going to grab that Aegis, and well, with that, maybe they look to take another fight.
Yep, ISSI already kind of scaring them off here. The big thing, of course, is that with the Mechanism of the Shadow Fiend, there's really not enough damage for Big God right now. They can disengage from fights with their ultimates, but as far as actually killing anybody but the lowliest support, it's not going to happen. They're grouping up together. They can 5-man with this Aegis, but first they want to smoke. The question is whether the Zeus actually scouts this one out. They have to be suspicious, but the Thunder God's Wrath is a precious resource at this stage in the game, and sometimes you don't want to use it just to scout a smoke.
They even block out the Ancient Camp on the way. Oh, burning,
no.
right into trouble. They don't get him with the call, but the stun's there, and the job's done. Jumping in, ROTK gets the Chrono onto 2. We'll finish off Ice. Now looks for Black. But there's going to be the death follow-up. Black has to pull away, but he goes down. Stone Gaze pops out. Buyback from Burning to get right back in the mix. The Aegis going to be popped, but FY gets his own dunk, taking and finishing off the Faceless Void. So, spending this buyback, Super second life. He's going to go down for a second time. It's going to be Zhao Wei who picks up that kill. I'd have to tell you, Big God benefit a lot from that. They do have to spend the buyback from Burning, but they get a lot more. Look at that. About a 3,400 gold swing in their favor.
If there was no double damage rune bottled on Burning right there, he would not have bought back. It would not have been as valuable enough of a play, but he had the DD rune, so he gets back into the fight, and he does a truckload of damage. Almost takes down Fenrir, though. He's pretty quick on his feet, and in the end, they just get the Shadow Fiend twice, which is perfectly fine for them. They're very happy to just move in and clean house to get a lot of big kills, to delay the SF BKB, which would be the ultimate snowball item right here. And along with that, of course, getting that farm back on Burning. Now, he is going to be able to farm up a double or triple stack of Ancients, but Ice is on the prowl. 1 mana burn, and he's going to be dropping very, very low.
Oh man, they had the ward, so they see this. There's help near, though. He goes for the stun. The mana burn hits on Burning, but Ice walks away. There's just too much attention nearby. Olanin thinks that there's a ward on the high ground, but the ward's actually inside.
Here comes FY. They saw him under the creep wave, but maybe it's a little, almost there. The max blink range would have put him just inside call range, and actually found Zhao Wei anyways. The swap out, though, great response.
Yeah, but Ice will be the sacrifice for that. It commits another ultimate there coming out from Fenrir, but they still drop 1. And with that, Vici Gaming try to get a few early pot shots into this tier 2 tower. That's the main focus here. You know, it's Burning and a Medusa after all. They want to take it as long as possible and would love to stall out for Big God, but Vici Gaming don't want that. They are going to go ahead and start taking objectives, taking away safe farm potential there from the Radiant side, and it looks like, well, potentially they could grab it here. Burning is dancing near, has Stone Gaze at the ready. ROTK moves forward 2 more seconds. He'll have Chrono here. Maybe Vici Gaming keeping an eyes on the clock as far as chrono cooldown. Played a little bit passive. We'll see, though. Battle Hunger.
Oh, he doesn't have a mana for Stone Gaze, so he just barely got it with the magic line, and will use it to force the disengage. Gets the Chronosphere onto Black here, doing a lot of good damage and dodging the Impale. RTK moving perfectly as Chrono, but FY with the reinitiation.
Yeah, here comes Vici Gaming on the strike back. A swap to save burning. Ice could go down again and will. Dunked on the head. FY secures another double kill, but there's the stun from Ice. Mystic Flare follow-up. Lots of damage, and there's another dunk.
Wow, 60 seconds without Medusa. And RTK went back in.
Oh, he went in. Oh, he was so close. Potential threshold, but not enough mana for the Culling Blade. Oh, FY would have loved to bring home another Slam Jam, but it's not there. He's got huge farm, though. 1,700 gold, 12 in Y, or 12 in 1 for FY is ridiculous. But they do lose their burning, and Vici Gaming come out big. They take the tier 2, they take the fight, and they pull away.
Yeah. I want to note that there was a point about 10 seconds prior to that fight where both sides were poking and prodding at each other, and Medusa and Void were intentionally grouped up on one another. They wanted to make it look subtle, but they were under their tower and right next to each other for a two-man call. Would have it looked like a great setup for the Axe, but the way Burning plays as Medusa is he looks for the quick reaction Stone Gaze, and he can actually Stone Gaze before the call comes out, making that initiation worthless and making it so that they can actually maybe threaten FY's life with that kind of a play. So they made their moves intentional because they knew they had the kind of counter initiation. But what Vici Gaming kind of did was outplay them with long-range mana burns and spellcast. They kept them at a distance, didn't go in for the easy two-man call, and waited for something juicier. They had an out-of-mana Medusa, forced to use their magic wand just to pop the ultimate, and later they were able to get a great triple spin.
Black gonna get swapped back in trouble, caught between the three, and they will take care of him, no problem. Maledict, enough burst out coming out from Zhao Wei, plus Ice being there, makes it an easy 3-on-1 takedown. So the troll will drop. This far will be put off a little bit here as FY looks to come up. They walk on out. So a nice pick right there for Big God. Gives him another boost. I mean, look at this. For even just the one takedown, man, that is near 2K gold of a gold swing.
Yeah, it's quite incredible. FY is going to be looking for a play under the RTK, but Ice is just barely off on the Impale. Nice attempt, but just a 50-50 shot, I suppose, and he does misguess on where the Tom Walk went. But nevertheless, I mean, they have great control over the map right now. They are able to prevent Medusa from farming the Ancients with this ward that's been in play for a while. And, I mean, generally speaking, you see the Ancients haven't spawned, immediately Zeus goes to deward it. But he's been under such pressure with all this kill momentum from Vici, he doesn't even feel safe committing one single lightning bolt and 2 auto attacks. He really has to play it as safe as possible and just farm the Force Staff. But in the meantime, the Troll is nearing his BKB, the SF is already there. And at that point, I think they're going to go for just another Roche cycle and then go in for an all-in on the tier 3s. They're very strong at this point in the game, as long as they are avoiding the full 5-man Chrono Death Ward.
Why, though, and Super, they should maybe consider stalling out, but they want to make the jump on the RTK with the raise, but the swap. Ice
doesn't get the
save, and there's going to be the return. Chronosphere catches both. Now dishing out the damage. Zhao needs more mana. Mystic Flare able to zone RTK back, but FY still in trouble. Stone Gaze pop burning. Great position to block him off at the front, and they will look to finish him off, and they do. Another dominating streak there. This time it's going to be picked up from Lanham, but that was an engagement Vici Gaming wanted to take, and a good counter initiation from Big God.
Yeah, this Venge has just been swapping perfectly every time. Once just to sacrifice herself so that the Zeus could live, the higher priority target, and this time here actually set up the return kill beautifully, and that was really what they need to stay in this game, is just every time those initiations happen, be ready for them, and instead of feeding lives away, just take a little bit of that gold and put it back in your pocket. Get that little bit of that 6.82 rubber band in play, and if they can spread the map, if they can delay things, and they can keep their excellent wards up, then I think they have a really good chance of bringing this one back. I mean, avoid Medusa in the late game is just absolutely incredible. They've drafted for the late game. They just have to delay it further. But that does mean they need to get their wards back up. They had 3 great wards in play. Now they have kind of 1.5.
Yeah, so maintaining the map control, maintaining most of the farm out there, taking more of it away from burning is certainly the antidote they will need, because longer this goes on, Big God get a lot more comfortable. Even Ice, anticipating a late game, he does have the Midas now. 1,500 gold saved up for him. But they're going to town on this top tier 2. Big God, I don't think they're looking to put out a defense. They accept that it will drop. And only one more outer tower stands here for Big God. Well, for Big God, they haven't taken a tower yet. There's still a lot of gold out there for them to grab, but it's no game when you want to overstep your boundaries. Playing it slow, getting these counter fights is just one step in the right direction. Taking advantage of that rubber band if you got to can help this Medusa really, really thrive.
Yeah. Just going to go for the Yasha for now and the Ultimate Orb, and actually not building into the Manta style. A lot of people wonder why Burning is not doing that if they haven't seen that many Medusa games, but bottom line is Manta is only an item that you go if you absolutely have to. If you need to dispel something, if you need to dodge a certain projectile, you can go for that and can create a lot of value via the active. But if you're not manipulating that invulnerability frame, and you're actually giving more things for Axe to spin on, then you're probably better off just going for the bigger item. And the cool thing about Eye of Scotty is the fact that it actually will give you more mana than just intelligence. Like, because the mana burn from Nyx is based on intelligence, you have to look at the fact that there's a point booster component to the Eye of Scotty, and it actually creates more value than just stacking intelligence.
See if it works out for the better. Mind you, the Roche is back up. There was a DD rune there, but it looks like it's going to be bottled up. I imagine from Super who went by. Yeah, he's got it right now. So they pressure bottom lane, but I imagine that they would love to get a hold of this Roche. Black's going to take care of these Ancients first, and maybe they look to swing around here. So maybe going for the D ward. They have brief glimpses of seeing FY Axe near the pit. Now there's Fenrir. He's got a sentry. Oh, that's good. And he gets the obs. So a nice grab for him. Puts them in the dark going for this Roche. Big God have to know this is happening. They ping it out right there. And instead it looks like maybe they go for a tier 1 top lane.
So we're going to see the Aegis go the way of the Shadow Fiend here with a 9-second BKB as well as the mechanism. This is his time to really shine. But we do see the tier 1 going pretty much freely to Big God here. If Isis Ice went to initiate, he'd be under the sentry and inside the Chronosphere before he could blink. So we'll see. Maybe we're going to see that quick draw, whether the blink comes through or not. But he probably knows the sentry is in that vicinity.
Oh, they see Ice there. There's the wave. They get him with the Chrono.
Terror. That's so good.
Very nice. Very nicely done. Sorry, you little bug. We got you. Ultimate comes on out, and Super moves in. Big damage to Flies. His BKB is going to be popped. And look at that. Black's able to isolate, take down the Vengeful Spirit. They drop both supports. Jumping ahead. FY grabs a hold of Xiao Wei, goes for the dunk, gets the one. Burning has to pull out the Stone Gaze to slither away from this. And back and behind, you see ROTK trying to spread out Black, and ROTK will escape. Both your cores on Big God will live, but VG Gaming get the advancement in numbers, taking it 2 for 3.
Yeah, and they can farm out the Radiant Jungle. They can maybe pressure a little bit of tier 3s with the Chronosphere on cooldown, but overall they just take the map based on that victory. They still have the Aegis for at least 4 minutes here on Super, and they commit very little to that, just one of their BKB charges. So they're very happy about that, especially since they were engaging 4v5. It's just, yes, you lose an Nyx Assassin, but they lose a Chronosphere. So it's still a pretty good exchange, and VG will keep control. But they don't want even exchange. They want to keep crushing, because as the score evens out even just a little bit, Big God can put that goal to work. And Burning, he's got a Scotty already. He just has to get to the Secret Chop. He'll push out this wave, and he'll have it. By the way, we do have RTK getting a backtracking on the Vendetta, but still getting stunned up. And call, no, not coming through.
Didn't have the blink up apparently. Now it comes through. He does get the call there, and eventually they will take down the Faceless one. So ROTK gets dropped, trying to farm up in his own jungle. Really feeling like nowhere is safe at this point for VG Gaming.
I like how Burning just doesn't even bother going to the Secret Chop to get his Scotty. He's just like, well, I need to get a TP anyways, so no Secret Chop and then Side Chop for me. I'm going right to the creeps.
Well, he'll make it work for now. There's going to be the Scotty trade. And he has his TP now, so he's going to be A-okay. Black, though, ooh, we see Xiao Wei. He's running that way. Xiao Wei desperate. Can I get the bash? No. 3 hits, no bash. No RNG there for Black, unfortunately.
So what I was talking about earlier there, the Eye of Scotty gives 250 mana and 25 to all int, and while that is a very substantial amount of mana, the important thing is that he only gives 75... Oh,
whiff stun on the Burning, unfortunately, with the jumping from Ice, and now Stone Gate's going to be popped. They just simply walk away. Carapace actually going to hold off Burning, but they keep moving in. Thunderbolt from above. Mind you, Super still has that Aegis, but they can't even pop it. RTK now looking to get involved. He has his Chrono here. Maybe seeing if he can scout out any VG gamers on the side, but that's not the case. So Big God rotate a lot to this bottom lane. They don't drop anyone from VG Gaming. Anyway, sorry, as you were, Scotty, Medusa.
Yeah, essentially because it has a point boost component, I'll just make it quick in case more action happens. He gets 575 mana out of it, but he only gets mana burned for 125 extra. So let's say there's 2 mana burns against him in the fight. He's not going to be completely drained because the Scotty has a little bit of extra value by giving the mana from another source. And it's actually better to have the plus mana stat instead of the intelligence against the Nyx in this situation. Either way, he still might have to go for a BKB, which means he's got 2 defensive items up his sleeve, but we'll have to see how that plays out. You don't generally want to go a BKB against Axe, Troll, Shadow Fiend, but the Nyx and Skywrath may just force it.
OTK walks into trouble, is going to be forced to pull out his BKB just to take off that silence and get the hell out of there. So a charge is going to be taken down for him now at 8 seconds. And all the meanwhile, they'd scouted out the DD at the top, which is not bottled up. It looked like it might have just been grabbed. Well, anyways, it's in a better place now. And now you got Black, who picks up and finishes his Sage.
Burning has no TP. He's completely all by himself.
Mana. He gets stunned, and really, he's not going to have far to go. It looks like they're going to slowly right-click him down. Desperate to get to help, Zhao Weight's there. Dishes out the ultimate, and it looks like that's enough to stop VG Gaming from pursuing. So with that, they just kind of take back the lane. Take a lot more farm, and mind you as well, Super completed his butterfly, so this is not going to be easy for Burning at this point. I don't see a near MKB coming up for him. Looks like he wants to finish out the Manta first, but getting a hold of Super and trying to even bring in the damage, and even for ROTK, it's going to be a bit difficult.
No, I don't even think he finishes the Manta this game. It's probably MKB, BKB, but he still has a huge chopping list, and the Butterfly just makes it all the harder for him. But yeah, Super cleaning up Ancients. If you look at the Observer Wards, they just took one out on the plateau here, but in general, Avicii are kind of suppressing Big God's movement across the map, and they're just waiting for the next Royal Cycle. That's when they're going to look to end the game. You can't really commit to a 40-plus minute game against this lineup, so they will look to end the game with the Aegis Chiefs.
So with that, Black now holding 1,600 gold after what felt like him just completing his Sange and Yasha. Checking base on the roast, we still got a couple of minutes before we even see what kind of timer we're really working with here.
It's actually, it said about 30 seconds ago 4.5, so it should be about a 2 minute, or 1.5 minute spawn. So
right
pretty average.
Yeah, right in the middle. So not too bad here for VG Gaming at least. For Big God, they're hoping for a long timer. More time for Burning to farm it on up. And, well, he gets his BKB now. Certainly a step in the right direction for him, but I just fear for the backstaff he's got behind him. Zhao Wei has been, well, struggling from the start, being in the lane setup he was at and getting pretty much rolled over from Black. Now he's like what looks like the 4th lowest in net worth, and you know, really being able to bring out the big burst at this point seems to be a bit difficult. Plus, you got a couple of BKBs here on your cores for VG Gaming. I feel like his potential is really going to be plateauing, with the exception of being able to deward and get that global vision.
A lot will depend on this smoke play here. I obviously won't decide the Roche fight because there's too much time left before the respawn, but they saw with their observer ward that Black went this direction. They know he's farming one of the 2 camps, pinging the western one, but they're going to see him on the creep wave if Black went for it, but he knows there's just too much off the map. This mid lane is pushed in, bottom lane is in a decent defensible position. He expects somebody to be visible somewhere, and the fact that they're not will just give him the sense to walk away, and they cannot do anything with this smoke. So there are going to be 2 Aghanim Scepters coming up that are very consequential. The Axe, it's a momentum builder Aghanim Scepter. FY is actually only 500 gold off of it, and that increases his kill threshold from 450 to 625. That's going to be so easy to bring down the Witch Doctor, Zeus, and Venge very early in the team fights, and possibly even the Faceless Void if they get the right counter initiation. So this brings down heroes so much easier and has a number of extra added attributes that make it really powerful. But if the Void can keep farming, RTK will look for an Ags of his own, and having the potential to do 2 Chronospheres in a very short span of time would be really the game maker for them.
Well, you better hope he gets Ice in it. Speaking of which, he moves up. Insta BKB from ROTK will save him for there, so it's another charge down for him, but he walks away with his life. But yeah, he could have his hands full if he doesn't catch out Ice in that chrono. He looks to be building up a Yules here, and that could be arch nemesis to Faceless Void. And now one with much lower charges on his BKB. He might not even be able to get as much off as he'd like through 2 full chronos. And also remember, in the recent patch change, though they now scout him out, they're smoked up and they might not have seen anyone get hit, so that could have been a bit peculiar for the BG company, so they pulled back and away and played safe for now. But anyways, yeah, remember the changes on recent Faceless Void. Having 2 chronos costs a pretty penny, so it looks like with the point booster, Agnum's first, it could help.
Yeah, they'll build up that way, but FY just stalking, hoping that somebody will be farming bottom. There's super push again, trying to pretend he's an illusion, but he just hits a little too hard. It's quite clear that this is legit, and with him is the entire team. There's no way he's, even with this much of an advantage, there's no way he's farming by himself. But still, they want this tier 2 tower if they can. They have the chrono, and they'll look for the opportunity to make a play.
See if that play is going to be given. Super inching on forward here. No second life for him. Burning tries to toy with him a bit. FY creeps in, maybe thinking about an opportunity to make the jump, but very timid here from both sides. One big devastating fight could put Big God right back into this, and for VG Gaming, if they take a big fight, it looks like Big God could be losing racks. They better hope they have some reserved up, investments for maybe potential buybacks here, which you can see they have it on Burning and ROTK and with Lanham. But
so we see the Roche respawn now. 30 seconds. This is what BG were trying to bait. Anybody dying on VG Gaming through attempt to dive and kill on the tier 2 through overconfidence would be a very punishable offense, because then they can go and try to snipe the Roche for themselves, which would delay VG's game plan another 10 minutes. So Black's going to go in, keep doing his thing, take down the tier 2. If they don't have a tier 2 proxy, buybacks aren't as dangerous for that big Roche fight. So they could just take this tier 2, walk away, and feel so much better about Roche, which is funny now, but RTK.
yeah, he goes for the jump. BKB pop.
Butterfly, though, it's too good.
Yeah, he's on the outside. He's going to be fine. Super heals up. There's the mech. Stone Gaze pop. They're looking to walk away from Burning here. They all turn away, and no one's going to get stoned up. ROTK, though, is going to get bashed to hell.
Oh, my gosh.
His ultimate is just domination. ROTK not looking to pull out the buyback just yet, even though they still have the tower to TP to. FY jumps in, swap back, immediately saved from Ice, and now it's Burning looking to dish out the right click. He pops his BKB, and FY could be crumbled down, and will be. On the go back here, Big God move on forward. Super very wounded at this point, trying to maybe find an opportunity to go into a corner and pull out this TP.
The right plan. I think he had the movement speed advantage, but he'll go in the trees, and he will fall because of it. So Xiaowei Lightning Bolt rings true. They had a Force Staff cooling down. I guess that's what he was worried about, but he had the Flutter active, and he started juking a little early. If he just ran as fast as he could, the treads don't give him much movement speed, but the few seconds he had left on Flutter, I think might have given him that edge, since there are no blink daggers. There's just the one Force Staff, but it's hard to call without looking just perfectly at the Roadrunner versus the Coyote on the replay. And as it is, Shadowfiend goes down right as the Roche is alive. This is a cheese Aegis Roche, and it is potentially a game decider.
They clear out the bottom tier 1 tower. That restricts a bit of the TP rotations over. Ooh, ice. He's ice, and it's ice on ice action here. And, well, they do take down Vengeful Spirit. Ice. Gonna have to walk away. Xiaowei. Oh, bash. Can they get it? Oh, man, a burn. Lanham's gonna be taken down. It's a double kill for Black. So there is no open opportunity here for Big God to maybe go on the return, maybe even sneak the Roche themselves. It's gonna be VG Gaming who are gonna move over to the pit, see what's in front of them, and get the job done.
I think with those kills, I can just go in. I mean, they have the battle trance coming up in 13 seconds here, and Medusa can't do anything by herself. She just wants to buy her MKB at this point. She needs to get the courier to the demon, get the demon edge, and get everything back to base. MKB, BKB is actually where she comes online in this game, because you saw how good that butterfly was. Super full chrono, but he popped his BKB beforehand, and they did almost nothing to him. So MKB is going to be the pickup here for Medusa, and it just it took a little while, but Burning makes it happen in 36 minutes rather than the 45 that it could have been.
Surplus of items starts coming on out. Xiaowei with the Yules. Burning gets an MKB. Aegis going to be put into the pocket of Super on his Shadow Fiend. That leaves Black with the good stuff, the Gouda, the cheese. So get that extra bit of what pretty much is a second life. So VG Gaming back in control, grabbing a hold of the reins here, and ooh, a beautiful DD rune at the top lane, going to be grabbed up from Ice. He got glimpses of ROTK at the top lane. He's going to look to scout out and see if he can get him here. ROTK does have a BKB, but the timing could be crucial here.
Yeah, there's no BOTs, so it's really just, I mean, he could force him out, but I don't think he can get the kill. It's very annoying what Ice is doing, but he's only going to force the T-Gods just to make sure that Xiaowei's okay. Or sorry, RTK is okay.
Maybe hoping at least for a BKB pop, just to take that extra down to the final 5-second mark. But not going to be the case, just a little bit of harassment there. They finish off that bottom tier 2 tower at this point, and with that, there'll be no more outer structures here for Big God, and they might need to consider what could be their high ground defense at this point. Touching base with Burning, he's managed to slither his way on up to the second in net worth with that MKB grab now, and 1K gold. Love to reserve that bit of gold for the buyback that he might have to dip into. Needs 800 gold for that, but What do you think the chances are at this point for Big God? They did put together a reasonable fight, but it was kind of taken back there from Vici Gaming on the bottom tier 2, or tier 1 rather.
As long as the racks still stand for Big God, and they're at this stage in the game, I would have to say that they have more than a 50% chance of winning. It's still Vici that have to use this farm advantage to end the game. If Big God just holds tooth and nail, they're able to do it. But one very risky pickup here is this Aghanim Scepter on Faceless Void. If Void dies very early in the next fight, then he can't buy back. And if he can't buy back, then there's no point in having 60 seconds on your Scepter cooldown, because you're just not going to be back in time to save your lane of racks. So it really comes down to this next buyback farm from RTK. I think if RTK can farm this buyback and have the Aghanims, the BKB, so on, then they'll have, I would say, a 60% chance or above of winning this. But Vici Gaming, they have so much farm. They want to punish anything like a over-aggressive pickup, and if they can find the opening, then they'll do a lot. Aegis is up, Cheese is up, and it's about bringing down RTK quick and making sure Burning doesn't do too much. Using him, anything to take him out of the fight, because he does have that MKB.
Now we see Vici Gaming clearly have the momentum to do what they want with Aegis in hand or Super. It's them to kind of push the pace. They would love to have all 3 lanes right at the doors of Big God. So Ice working with this top. This is a huge wave coming down. We got 3 range creeps, it looks like. This is going to be a big push. Our OTK is looking to move up there. They would love to press it back.
But they have the Observer Ward. They see this coming, but nice Thunder God's Wrath. Canceling the blink. Ice can't get out. FY will get the taunt, however, onto Lanham.
Jump on forward from FY. Skywrath Mage ultimate going to be there. The swap save for Ice. Now they turn back onto FY. Burning unleashes the right-click Fury. Death Ward also going to be dropped. Black tries to go toe-to-toe, but this is a fight he can't win. The Stone Gaze takes him down. Lanham double kill. Super still with Aegis, trying to right-click Burning, but he's a beast. Ice back, moves in, stun, gonna catch, but now Super will go down. The first life to drop, and here comes Ice moving forward. Yule's gonna catch on Zhao 8. But they're gonna have to potentially let them go. Big God looks to go back towards the base.
Die back for Ice.
Yeah, the dieback there. The Maldic, the curse is too much, and Lanham gets a triple kill at the end of that one. 17-30, a big boost again for Big God.
Yeah, and Super, I mean, he'll be able to pick up his Satanic here, and that'll be a pleasant upgrade for him, but the losses they just incurred, losing the Aegis, the Cheese was unused by Troll, so he will have that for later, but in general, just losing so much and giving so much. You were talking about Burning was gradually making his way there, finding a nice spot at second net worth. He one-ups that. He goes to the top of net worth, despite having such a high tempo game for Vici Gaming. I mean, Vici Gaming is a team that loves their early aggression drafts, that loves to really take control of the action. We saw it at TI4, we've seen it every single game from them since. But here it is, Burning playing his late game style, and Vici just not being able to suppress him sufficiently. He has 3,800 gold on top of the MKB, BKB, Scotty, and at this point, I don't know, maybe even a Rapier could be in consideration for him to try to guarantee this game.
Yeah, it almost felt demoralizing there for Vici Gaming. Super just dishing out huge right click. Even before that, Black trying to go toe-to-toe, straight even into the Stone Gaze, and it didn't seem like they were really cracking the tough shell of Burning.
Because of the BKB. If the mana burns were there, if they got 2 mana burns onto Medusa, they would be able to bring her down. But as it is, she's just too tanky, and she has the BKB to prevent Nyx from doing what he intends to.
So with that, they have put together a really good itemization, a good structure, a couple of team fights to hold them back and bring in huge rubber band profits, and now they're taking advantage of it. Now it looks like the game much more even than it was at the start. Remind you that when this game led off, it was FY going on a dunking exhibition. He was at like, what, 8-0, 8-1 at the start of this? It seemed like it was a snowball that no one was going to be able to stop, especially a team that were already so low. Zhao Wei just was put to the ground, and you had a Medusa who needed a lot of time to farm up. It was looking like it could have potentially been a 15-20 minute game, but now it's been stalled out, and Big God, they are coming on back here. Burning has near 5k gold. This is ridiculous. This is easily looking like a huge comeback for Big God.
Yeah, no matter what he picks up, he's going to be able to do a ton of work with it. And he still doesn't have to fear the Heaven's Halberds because of the fact that he does have 8 seconds left on the BKB. He's conserved his cooldowns very nicely. He's been manipulating the farm on the map so damn well, and he's just been as efficient as you can be in these kinds of situations. Meanwhile, a lot of heroes have just kind of been put a halt on. The Ice 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 slow roll, you would see like a Nyx that's doing really well to maybe move in towards things like Necronomicon to push an end, the Dagon 5 and Ethereal Blades to get kills easier. He went for the good utility item of Eul's. I think it really is a very good pickup, but the dieback makes it so that he's not progressing further, even with the Hand of Midas he's had for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes.
Really rough, and plus you have to consider FY. Where is he at this point? Yeah, he had a big start, but you're jumping in. You can't really make the call on the burning. You risk putting yourself under the stone gaze, or just trying to draw his attention elsewhere. Maybe you're looking to stop out Lanham from potential death ward, but they seem to have proper and good positioning. Plus you got to consider Zhao Wei dishing out with the Thunder God's Wrath, blinking in, getting the job done. Doesn't seem quite as easy here. So I feel like even the Axe at this point, even after that phenomenal, probably almost record-breaking of a start, could be falling off a little bit.
Yeah. Another thing that's going to be coming into play very shortly is the fact that Medusa is picking up a Butterfly. This is countered by MKB, which Troll and Shadow Fiend will undoubtedly go for. But if you consider the fact that he's investing in one luxury item to pick up two, going for the attempt at the Chrono, but I don't... Oh, he
got
does?
it.
He's just on the edge.
Wow.
Gets the movement speed sufficient with the Mask of Madness, and down goes Ice 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 for the third time in just a few minutes. But yeah, that Butterfly is going to force two MKBs, which is two luxury items picked up by the cores that have actually started to fall off in farm. Like, their GPM to this point has been above 550, but now it's starting to slow. Medusa's on the rise, and if they have to add another item to their shopping list, a very expensive one at that, then that's plenty for burning. And on top of that, of course, you get some good attack speed and attack damage. It's just going to be all around a great pickup for burning, and it really hurts to be Vici. They have to close this out, but since the Nyx did go for a Eul's instead of a Hex, I'm not sure if they have an easy way out.
It feels like for Vici Gaming, it's just go back to what they were doing previously. Farm up as long as you can. Roche should be coming up momentarily. Get that Aegis and hopefully make another go. This time maybe prioritize going for more of the objectives rather and breaking into the base. But Big God, time and time again, doing a nice job catching him outside the base and taking the fight there. And well, frankly, coming out the victor. So with that, they pressured on Helm. It looks like Super here's got about 3,700 gold, but this is going to be one of those fights where having those buybacks at the ready is what could be the big turnaround. So with that, there's your Butterfly. Now going to be complete on burning. For MKB status on the side of the Dire, it's not happening yet. They have a lump sum of gold, but they would rather guarantee they have that extra bit in reserve. So here we go. Roche is up. Vici Gaming, move on in.
So we're going to be seeing that cleaned up. Yeah, I mean, it's scouted, but it's still a free rush one way or another. There's not enough time to get the Chrono in the pit, and they'll be happy to just farm things up. They know what they're up against now, and RTK, you're talking about the itemization and the fact that mana is a very significant weakness, but it still isn't going to stop RTK from going for that Refresher Orb. He can refresh his BKB, he can refresh that Chronosphere, and if he can get two off, then I don't see a fight that Vici win. But they did scout out the Perseverance with the Observer wards they had towards the Secret Shop. They know if they're going to know if a Rapier is coming, and they know now that a Refresher Orb is done. Oh my gosh, I actually thought, oh, it's en route, it's going to get there eventually. He sells his Aquila, and he has it complete. That is scary as all get out, but you have to remember the mana cost. That is 600 plus 375. He will have it with Intreads.
He already has the Intreads on now. Maybe just preemptive just to make sure, but you put on top of that, are there even Arcanes anywhere on anyone? No, he better make sure he's not the one who gets mana burned.
Well, there's Zhao 8, but...
Oh yeah, I know why he has the Arcane Boots over there, but they better make sure they're nice and close and tidy. This is a game of numbers at this point, and he went all in for that get-up. If he goes down, there's no buyback here for OTK. It's going to be coming down to big execution here, and Super's got a DD rune already triggered. This is going to be interesting.
You want to put like a lot of reliance on the FOI swap here, but we've been seeing what the Venge has been doing every single time. They picked the Venge up pretty early in the draft, and they knew what it could counter. They knew that they could say, okay, Axe, you can jump, you can do what you want, but we'll take out at least one hero that you really wanted to be in that circle of death, and instead we'll be able to turn it. The Stone Gaze and the Swap, I think, are the two biggest counters to the Axe right here, and then, of course, we already talked about the Thunder God's Wrath, how it breaks down the Blink Dagger. So FY, despite his early momentum, has now had to go for all these defensive items, has not really been able to snowball, and with the 4 deaths that he has accumulated, although the KDA of 13, 4, and 6 looks really good, it's actually a lot of gold going away to cores that can really use it.
Vici Gaming with their map control, which they still have here. A lot of Big God in the dark. Waiting inside, just hoping that they can pull out that one big, successful high ground defense to turn this right back around here. And for Vici Gaming, they need to hope that they can break on in and do some real damage. Coming out on top for pretty much either team could be the end all. Well, we'll see here. This is a lot of pressure. What the biggest thing, ROTK, he's hiding his refresher too. When he shows himself, he drops it on the ground to make sure Vici Gaming don't even see it.
Very nice, very nice. And there's no way that they can really see that coming. I mean, obviously they saw the Perseverance. They know it's going to be picked up pretty soon, but they don't know it's up now, and that gives them a lot of cause for concern. Aegis and Cheese mean nothing compared to a second Chronosphere, and that's what's going to be delivered shortly. Now, I was talking about the MKB, counteraction of Medusa's Butterfly. Shadow Fiend did pick his up. He's a very quick flash farmer, and he's level 24, so he's able to move about and does find that MKB plus Aegis plus buyback. So there is still a good chance of them being able to break down the Dusa, but they have to have the perfect chain, and they also have to deal with this Venge. If they're dealing with the defensive Nether Swap along with the double Chrono, they have to have a little bit of a wing and a prayer on top of these items to bring down Burning once and for all.
There's 2 minutes left on the shot clock, even less than that now with this Aegis, and I'm not feeling like VG Gaming are looking to go take a fight. Are they actually considering waiting and stalling out even further at this point? I know they're getting the most out of the farm on the map, but it's a Medusa after all, and the high ground defense for Big God seems impeccable.
Well, one thing to mention is that they do have 2 cheeses stacked up on black, which is they saved the one from the third Roche, and now they have the one from the fourth Roche. This has a 40-second cooldown, and it looks like black won't be having a refresher herb anytime soon to make use of that. But if he does extend the fight, or if he does buy back, he can get back into it. Another Thunder God's Wrath just to scout the map. But yeah, if he does get the opportunity to use 2 cheeses, that second life, or that second full health bar, might be all the more valuable than the first. So he could manipulate that. The other thing they have to be probably looking at is potential hexes. If they can blink hex the Medusa, she won't be able to BKB the mana burns. She won't be able to evade auto attacks, and they'll feel a lot better. Other than that, I'm not too sure. It looks like a Linked Sphere will come out for Fenrir, which in general I like, but in this game I don't really see as much value as many others. The swap won't break you down, but they're the ones looking to initiate, not de-initiate.
ISSI's going for a little bit of split push. Obviously realizes there's a sentry ward on the ground as the creeps do attack him, so he pings it out, pulls back, and just does his own farm game here. They have eyes up above on the hill, so he'll see if rotations do come over, with also a brief glimpse of ROTK, which now they have to know he has the refresher on hand, but they make the go over. They get a hold of and take down Zhao Wei. I guess trying to put down or scout out any sort of ward situation near the Roche pit. He'll pay for his life. Going out there alone, my friend, is a bit too scary.
That was a very uncharacteristic play from him. I mean, I understand what he's trying to accomplish, but they haven't been playing like that for the past 20 minutes, and it's worked out really well. So I don't see a reason to take that risk now. I'm not sure that Vici can actually capitalize on it because they counted the Roche timer. He didn't go for that D-ward play until he knew the Aegis was gone, but even still, it's unnecessary loss, and I'm just not sure if there was anywhere near enough reward for that play to make it worth the risk.
So with that, ISIS moves forward. He has to know there's a sentry there. And they see them looking to scout out and eyeball what could potentially be on the high ground. So a lot more flirting here. Big God need to play cautiously. They let one loose end out there. The Zhao Wei gets caught and picked. Nothing too devastating for either side, as VG Gaming don't look to really press on in. Seems like they'll just continue to farm and farm. This did allow time, of course, for Black to get his MKB together. And potentially what could be the triple cheese burger if they do get the next Roche. I don't think I've ever seen 3 cheeses stacked up in a Dota match.
That certainly would be something. I don't think I have either. Games go long, but you know, at that point you might consider selling it. It's like, do you really need that third one? But yeah, I mean, hell, maybe the Skyreth is building a secret refresher so he can carry the cheeses and take full advantage of that. If he had an Aghanim Scepter, I would consider it an extremely next level strat, but he doesn't. He's not the one with the Midas. This is Fenrir Dota, and he's taking the slow roll on his items. So again, he's probably going for the Linked Sphere, and again, I don't really think that that's going to be the game changer. But ISIS pushing up top lane, trying to make it so that Big God have to make a choice, fight or defend. They don't want to lose towers or racks at any point this game, but they might get a good initiation on the Shadow Fiend.
This has got to look very peculiar to Vici Gaming. They see Burning way up confidently in this mid lane. Where's everyone else? ROTK's waiting. The smoke's going to be popped there. He knows someone's there. Does he make a confident jump on over there? Oh, fakes out one, does the ice skate.
I don't think you do this with the mana currently on Medusa. She only has 400, but they're going in.
They get super, and they start to right-click it in, and they dish out the ultimate from Zhao Wei, so no blinks can come on through. They manage to finish off super here. Does have the buyback. He wants to come back in, and Black's going to be taken down as well from the Death Ward. Now a big stun flies out from Ice. There's going to be the buyback. They go in, swap back, saves Burning. The second chrono connects. It's on Ice. Burning is unleashing a right-click fury. Gets an ultra, gets a rampage. He could get a double rampage if he takes super here. Will he get it? That's what I'm talking about. Super is dishing some reasonable damage, but self-fuels up, and he will go down. Lanham ruins the double rampage with that, but Big God, they gain huge success here on what has to be an enormous turnaround. They go for the high ground, they go for the base, and there's only Ice and Black to defend.
That's absolutely incredible. Just going in, just man mode there. Black's going to do the same thing. He will bash down RTK. Pretty hefty losses there. This is on his buyback, but he's going to return with a triple. Almost an ultra. Lanham, I don't think with the blink. Just barely. No!
Oh, he gets some.
Usage of the whirling axis from Black. He doesn't even get the blink out. It's a rampage for the Deuce. It turned into an ultra kill for the Troll Warlord, and what a hell of a game. But the thing is, there's more buybacks on Big God, and the Shadow Fiend's down for the count. 80 full seconds without it, and Medusa suddenly has full mana. She has her BKB, she has her full mana bar. Ice is going to have to poke and prod at this one to try to bring it down. And I was saying I wasn't sure about the engagement because of the mana pool of the Medusa, but RTK just says, trust in me, guys, I can get these badass Chronospheres, and indeed he does. With the defensive swaps, with the Stone Gaze, they can break down this fight so expertly in terms of control. Chronosphere into Stone Gaze into Chronosphere, and Vici Gaming just can't reply. They're going in for the throne. They have a Divine Rapier and a full mana Medusa. Ice rectifies part of that, but it's still impossible to bring her down. FY, he may try.
Big Gods taking it to Vici Gaming here. Divine Rapier in hand. The first frack's going to be dropped in their favor. And now they make the move. Pushing on forward. Can't get Fenrir, but here goes RTK. But the call's going to be there on Burning on the backhand side. They get the swap safe. Meanwhile, RTK able to take down the Nyx. And now Burning unleashes his right click. And Black, desperate to get away, pops the cheese. But he has cooldown. He can't use the second one if he'd like. Turns back. Skywrath Volt Burning with no more mana at this point. Landon being right click down. Black, big damage. He goes down. He is out. No buyback, 2 minutes, and Vici Gaming drop. Big God pull out the comeback and what is considered the upset. Unbelievable performance from the old guys, the legends, the big dogs, whatever you want to call them. They have just knocked the hell out of Vici Gaming in what was a dominating start. Remember, 8-0 dunks. That was supposed to be what felt like a 20-minute game, but Burning on Medusa, he does it again.
And they second picked this Medusa. They knew what they could accomplish with it. Last pick in the Void and taking it to the late game here. They did rely a little bit of feed from FY. Thought maybe his youth, his overconfidence might actually turn him into a gold pinata, and indeed it does, as the streaks are ended, that the Burning gets farmed up, and ending GPM of 794. Big Gods show that although gods may bleed, they are still truly immortal, and the Divine Rapier is there to prove it. My goodness, that was a hell of a game.
Not even on BTS1. Well, for everyone who do come by and hang out, we appreciate your support. Myself, KotLGuy at Twitter, on KotLGuy, and Blaze. Of course, thank you for joining me. I know that your road ends here, and I'm going to have Mock come in, but it's always a pleasure to have you. Support him, show him some love at his Twitter, at BlazeCasting. And with that, we're going to wrap things up. That was just our second heat. We got more Dota action coming your way, and our next matchup here on BTS2 is going to be eHome taking on MVP Phoenix. Thanks again, folks. We'll be back in just a moment.